The last Sherlock Holmes story, Chapter 2, Part 5. Lestrade wore the expression of one whose world is being taken apart piece by piece, and reasonably reassembled upside down. He made counting gestures on his fingers. He gazed up at the ceiling. His lips moved soundlessly at length. He looked over at Holmes with a deep sigh. So you were saying this man, whoever he is, has taken it into his head to kill 2 prostitutes a month. And the first after 1 week, and then the second 3 weeks later. Is that it? Not to kill Lestrade, to mutilate. That is his desire. Killing the woman is a mere preliminary, as one kills a goose for the table. If he were satisfied with killing, he would have gone straight home after cutting Lestrade's throat. Instead, he exposed himself to enormous danger so that he might subtly butcher the woman in Mitre Square. Do you remember the message he scrawled on the wall at Golson Street? The one you ineffable superiors had to erase before it could be photographed. The Jews are the men that will not be blamed for nothing. I quoted from memory, Holmes nodded. Holmes nodded. There have been any number of attempts to explain those words, he went on. The spelling of Jews is J-U-W-E-S, has been analysed as learnedly as if it were an Egyptian hieroglyphic. Though one might have thought this man had already given us sufficient evidence of his penchant for eccentric spelling, but no one is able to demonstrate is who the Jews in question are and what it is they are to be blamed for. And I suppose you will find it all very simple, Lestrade. Muttered. Holmes shrugged nonchalantly. The truth is invariably simple. The problem is clearing away the undergrowth of falsehood. The Jews referred to are the inhabitants of that country yard in Berners Street, and the more particular Louis Dysham, the hawker, who untimely returned home, prevented the killing from mutilating Stride's body. What are they to be blamed for is the heinous crime of upsetting our man's timetable, so that he was forced to remove his next killing forward a week. He was saying, in effect, I apologise for the confusion, but it wasn't my fault. Those Jews are to blame. Lestrade was now swaying in his seat, like some punch-drunk boxer. But how could he know the fellow was a Jew? He choked. How could he possibly know? Because the courtyard is occupied by a notorious socialists club run by and for European Jews. It is 100 to 1 that anyone coming or going there at that time of night will be Jewish, which all goes to prove that any further proof were needed. How well our man knows his Whitechapel. At this, Lestrade's resistance utterly collapsed, and he looked helplessly at my friend. What do we do? Holmes sprang to his feet. We patrol. We shut up Whitechapel like a cage. According to the sequence, the next killing is due within a few days. But we can determine the timing even more closely than that. For one thing, the murderers always take place at the weekend, with the exception of Tabaram, which I am inclined to see as something of a pretense job. To be more even Pacific, the death days are again, leaving Tabaram out of the account, which I'm inclined to see as something of a pretense job. To be even more Pacific, the death days, again leaving Tabaram out of the account, have all been Friday, Saturday, Sunday respectively, of all which suggests that the attempt will be made on Monday. In any event, only 4 nights are involved and only 4 hours a night. If we cannot adequately patrol an area of 1 square mile for that period of time, I think we had better retire and done with it. Lestrade was now on familiar ground again, and he nodded with more assurance. It can be done, it must be done, and done consummately. I shall call at the yard this afternoon at 5 with details of such measures as I consider necessary. In the meantime, you must summon every available man on the force and have them ready to commence duty at midnight. The official scratched his ear uneasily. I'll certainly do whatever I can, Mr. Holmes. I'm quite happy to accept your lead myself. You understand, but my superiors will back you all the way. You may be interested to learn that I now enjoy the rank of Acting Chief Inspector in your own division. As you said, criticism of the way the police have been handling the affair extends to my highest quarters. My brother Mycroft informed me last week that it was the wish of one more accustomed to command that I should exert my energies in this regard. It has been my pleasure as well as my duty to obey. I made it a condition, however, that I might implement just such a measures as I have mentioned. The appropriate arrangements have been made, and you need therefore have no qualms about carrying out my instructions. Very good, Mr. Holmes, I quite understand. I'll expect you about 5, sir. Good day. Never had I seen Lestrade so amenable. Holmes had also remarkable the charge. Holmes had also remarked the change in the policeman's manner. By Jove, Watson, said he, once we were alone again, if this ghastly business have achieved nothing else, it seems at least to have taught the yard its natural limits. However, I have no lively hopes that the effect will last. And now would you be so good as to summon our landlady? I am in urgent need of a bath, some hot food, and a few hours undisturbed sleep. I've been deprived of all 3 just lately. In fact, it's been quite an eventful week. What with one thing and another. One of my little homes from home was set alight in the early hours of yesterday morning. No damage was done, but I lost my night's sleep in consequence. Good God, you mean the fire was deliberately started? I think we may assume so in view of the other 3 attempts that has been made on my life recently. Any other hypothesis would have seemed to introduce a monstrous factor of sheer coincidence. Professor Moriarty is not a man to let grass grow under his feet. His first attempt was to run me down with a delivery van. My reactions were too quick, but shortly thereafter a brick fell from the building as I was passing and almost scrambled to my brains. His last effect was delegated. I was walking down a secluded street in Islington late last night when a pair of ruffians assaulted me with cudgels. What did I tell you? You should have kept me at your side. You might have been killed. Oh, they weren't very competent ruffians. I exercised some of my single stick skills on them. One fled, the other succumbed. I barked my knuckles, as you see. But I'm otherwise none the worse. But next time he will send more men and better. You must have protection, Holmes. You must not go out alone. I absolutely forbid it. Holmes smiled at my vehemence. My dear fellow, in a moment you will be saying, as your physician, but you need not distress yourself. Moriarty doesn't not mean to kill me yet. But I've told you that there have been attempts on my life. Attempts, Watson. If Moriarty wants to kill me, I should be reposing in some gutter by now. No, he only means to keep me on my guard. He is playing for his life after all. It would hardly be fair if I did not stand to lose as I did not stand to lose as much. I shook my head in disapproval. I do not see how you can speak of playing fair with this kind of man. Why do you allow him sport? Why do you delay? Why don't you tell Lestrade and have him arrested? Then we shall all be safe, you, me, and all these poor women. I understand your feelings, Moriarty, but I have felt the same. But it cannot be. How can we arrest Moriarty? What grounds have we? On the basis of what evidence are we to charge him? My suspicions are at the bottom of all interference and supposition. And if I were to mention them to Lestrade, he would laugh in my face. But Moriarty would not laugh. He would summon his legal advisers and obtain his unconditional release. And then his revenge would be dreadful to behold. No, let us be grateful that we know the devil with whom we have to deal, and that he is content to fight this duel with me. Let us observe the rules of honour and press our advantage home. Believe me, Watson, therein lies our only hope of smashing this man's tyranny. I reluctantly compelled to admit the force of Holmes' arguments, but before he retired, I had wrung from him a promise that I might accompany him at all times throughout the perilous hours that lay ahead. No longer would I be content to sit patiently at home waiting the outcome. When Holmes left for Scotland Yard that afternoon, I went with him, a revolver in my pocket, and in my heart the determination to sit close to his side. Wherever he might go, and whatever might befall, I have often wondered to what extent the Holocaust that was to come was due precisely to my success in this endeavour. And that was the end of chapter 2. Part 1, chapter 3, part 1 is next week. And I shall see you all next week. Bye bye for now.